I'm just a big kid, so spray painting is just like playing. Me and you were watching the What If series on Disney Plus. I saw that Uatu photo and I was like, I could do that. And that's usually how I wind up finding something to hyper focus and hyper fixate on. And then it was playing and spray painting and then selling them. But, I was just starting out, so they weren't really selling. So I was moving on to the next thing. And now it's landed at the very end. If you Tarantino it, now it's the Etsy shop I have.
Welcome to the RONU.media podcast. I'm your host, Omar, and I would like to welcome my guest, Charles Todeschini. We've been friends for a very long time now. And Charles, I want to talk to you about the things that you've been working on. Now, you've been working on a few different side hustles for a while. So let's, fuck it, man. Let's just dive right into your first side hustle that I remember was you got really into spray painting, and you started spray painting on like these big paper stock, and that evolved into spray painting on canvases. And then you started selling that stuff, right? So you had like an Instagram presence. You started working on a TikTok presence, or was that after?
That was definitely after. And that's really just because of you, man. You said to move on to canvas, so like I did. And I'm just a big kid, so spray painting is just like playing. And I think it was when the first me and you were watching the What If series on Disney Plus, and I saw that Uatu photo, and I was like, I could do that. And that's usually how I wind up finding something to hyper focus and hyper fixate on, and then it was playing and spray painting. It also worked with the seasons because obviously I could only be doing that outside. So that when that hyperfixation came around, it was nice enough outside, so I can do that. And then naturally, when it got colder, I had to move on. So I was moving on to canvas and then selling them, but I was just starting out, so they weren't really selling. So I was moving on to the next thing. And now it's landed at the very end. If you Tarantino it, now it's the Etsy shop I have. But yeah, that was where it all started. Okay. Playing with spray painting outside.
So you had mentioned seasons, right? So I would presume that those were really some of the bigger challenges. Was you were at the whim of the weather because you're not spray painting inside your bedroom.
Well, no, I don't have. Even if you're someone that does that, you have to have it like in a garage and a super nice ventilated mask, and then still after that you have to air out the place, and then there's still particles in the air. It's just a little more. And we have a 1-bedroom apartment, so there's just not an option to do that. So outside's the only option, and even if it's not raining, it can still be just windy. And then when I'm leaving something outside to dry, again, we don't have a huge house like to have an overhang. It's just kind of outside in the backyard. So the wind could blow a leaf or a fuzz or a feather or anything, and then that could get messed up. That is not something, I don't miss that part of full-time spray painting. It was fun, but I guess that is not the way I love to do it so much that I want to keep doing that. Outside in the wind or the rain, or get a project ready, or line up a project for the Sunday I have off. That would happen a lot. I would go, all right, I have Sunday off. Cool. I'm going to line up all these projects. I'll work on this one. And then while this one's drying, I'll work on this one. But then it starts to rain. And now that day is totally gone. And if you're anyone that knows anything about losing progress or losing time, and time is money, I hate that. And I hate that so much. I don't miss that part about spray painting.
What do you miss about spray painting?
You get to make a mess. And you get to wear dirty clothes all the time because you have clothes. It's like being a tattoo artist. It's okay to have jeans covered in ink. Also have a reason to go to Home Depot or Ace Hardware to buy more spray paint. Was fun.
How did that project evolve, right? You started spray painting. You moved on to canvas. That also led, what was the next step?
Trying to sell them online, that wasn't really taken because shipping them and whatnot. I was selling them at the gym I work at because luckily I teach kids, and all the things I was painting were Star Wars, Disney, and the like. And then that moves on to people saying, well, can you do this? And I was like, well, yeah, with enough time, I can do anything. Like one of the weirdest ones I got was, can you do Elsa wearing a Spider-Man mask? And I was like, all right, that's cool. So when I got into custom stuff, I was like, well, I mean, this is kind of dope. Custom stuff. I should probably wear my own custom stuff. And then I came across a pair of shoes I had, and I was like, why don't I just redo these shoes? And then not surprised to find out that there's obviously, and for a long time has been, a huge community of people that do custom shoes, custom Nikes, Air Force Ones. And then that was the next hyperfixation of where to put my effort in art, and how to now the start of keeping it out in front of people's face. The idea was that if I design a custom pair of shoes, I'm constantly wearing my own product and I'm constantly promoting myself. I'm the commercial And since I was surrounded by kids teaching all the time, if I had a cool Star Wars or Disney thing on me that they would see, they would go, oh, that's cool. I want that. Let's buy that, which is just the simplest form of just any type of advertising. But I was just trying to take advantage of how the people around me where I work, and as opposed to just wearing regular clothes, I might as well be wearing the stuff that I could sell at some point. So that the painting was from, the poster boards and then canvas, and then it got onto shoes. That's just how that naturally evolved. And then I just started getting my hands on any pair of shoes I can practice on, from mine, my wife's used ones. I was getting used ones off Mercari. People were giving me their old ones to redo. One of the coolest ones that I couldn't even sell are the Pokemon ones I have. I just wore those the other day when we took my nephews to the arcade, and a few kids were like, oh, look at these Charmander shoes. And I was like, yeah, they're dope. They are dope. You wish you had them, but you don't, because they're one of a kind. I custom make them. But that, again, fast forwarding through that, not too fast forwarding through that, the end of that is it's just very time consuming. It takes up a lot of space. Like spray paint, the shoes take up space. The paint for them take up space. It's better and different than spray paint because I can do it indoors and I can do it on my own time. The weather conditions don't matter. So that was cool. So I took all the stuff that I got from spray paint, kept all the good stuff, and got rid of the BS stuff, not having to work outside, and now I'm on to shoes. I actually have a pair right here in front of me.
What I am getting from all this, which is awesome. I mean, granted, you and I, we've been friends for nearly 2 decades. You're a really creative dude, and you've always managed to make time to work on some sort of creative project, whether it be D&D, right? Like you're not your standard DM. On your free time, you would go home, you develop these really elaborate maps, and you were also really resourceful. You would invest in sugar cubes. This I thought was the greatest. You would get sugar cubes and you would spray paint them and make them into, and then you'd glue them together and make them into castle bricks. And that was the coolest fucking thing. On top of that, you had a 3D printer, so that would really also add other items. It was just a really great use of that tool.
I tend to find like the cheapest way to do a thing, and then it goes all the way through finding the most expensive way to do a thing. So yeah, the sugar cubes work because they were around at the time, and then 3D printing, it makes for good practice on doing stuff. I don't even think I showed you this. I broke a guitar, so I made it into a hanging shelf for Brittany to put on the shelf.
I can't even see it.
That's right, you'll see it soon.
I'm looking at a black screen right now. Thank God for Riverside. This episode is brought to you by Riverside.fm. If you're recording a podcast, do it on Riverside because everything is recorded locally. I can't see shit right now, but when I edit this, you'll be able to see all of it. It's fantastic. We went from starting out with the spray painting. Are you still doing custom apparel and shoes for people like on commission, or what are we doing at the moment?
No, I'm pretty much not doing shoes anymore. If someone I know approaches me that I like, it'd probably be someone that I see at work or a parent that I've known, and they ask me, I'll totally do that for them. A, because I know them, and B, because it'll just help my brand be out there because people will see their shoes and they'll ask about them.
No, you might have mentioned this earlier.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's just time consuming, so I don't really do that anymore. That's where I am with shoes. They're cool. I do make a effort to, every time I go out, to wear shoes that I've worked on, unless it's like raining. Like today it's gross. So when I go out today, I'm probably not going to wear my Pokemon shoes because they'll get destroyed. But every time I go out and it's nice, I try to make sure I'm wearing something so people go, what's that? Where'd you get those?
You no longer do the shoes unless someone specifically requests it, but it's not really what you're advertising for.
Correct.
So where are you at now? What are you currently working on, Charles?
Like literally right now?
Literally right this second.
Literally right this second. Do you want me to pick up the phone and show you, or describing it?
You can tell me.
I just stopped a Facebook ad campaign because it ran for 3 days and I got good numbers, but I can do it better. So that was fun.
A Facebook ad campaign for what?
An ad to just get clicks to the Etsy shop. I am currently working on a shirt that is like an homage to that simple text on the left-hand side of like a shirt where it just goes down and just says like name. It's very simple. This one is Super Saiyan, Straw Hat, Shinobi, Alchemist, Soul Reaper.
You're making shirts? Are you selling shirts?
I make cool shit for cool people, man. I use Printful and Etsy to sell stuff on, and the shop is called Heroic Props, and it's mostly geek stuff. Star Wars, Disney, Pokemon, you name it. I like to...
No, is it only shirts?
Oh, no, of course not. I like to make stuff that I could wear to work, like hoodies and sweatbands. I also make stuff that I like to wear to like the parks or to go out to eat dinner, like a button down, windbreakers, hoodies, t-shirts, pretty much everything that's in the catalog of Printful, which if you don't know anything about print on demand, it's a lot of stuff. It's actually good practice to funnel when you give person's ideas. Because if I put up like you have a Wonder Woman hat, if I make a Wonder Woman hat, do I make it just red and blue? Do I give you too many options? And then you think about where's the line for overloading a customer where they go, oh, these are a lot of options. I'll look at this later, and then they forget about it, and they don't look at it, and I lose that sale.
So it sounds to me like you're dealing with a customer's analysis paralysis, and you're dealing with ways to avoid running into that issue, which is I have too many options, so I'll make no decisions. Mm-hmm. You limit those options, they're more likely to make a decision.
You're right. And then there's other times where I am trying to just throw jelly against the wall and see what sticks. Not when it comes to you going to the checkout page and having too many things to think about. I'll throw jelly against the wall when I'm being creative on my own time, not when I'm on someone else's time. And I got you there for a few seconds. You know what I mean? Like if you get lost or you're confused or this is too many, this is ridiculous. I just click away. Everybody wants to find something simpler and easier. So KISS, keep it simple, stupid. I try to use that all the time.
That's brilliant. I like that a lot.
When I'm at work and I'm making Ninja Warrior courses for a kid, whether I know exactly how many kids are coming in, or the type of kid that's coming in or the age, I can always make the obstacle course harder later. If they come in and it's too hard now, they're not going to want to play or they get frustrated. They just want to go home. But if I just make it simple and they go through it once and I go, okay, now I can make it harder, I can apply that all over the place. So that's what I try to do. So
Charles, I know for the most part, what I want to talk about on the podcast is the side hustle, but what do you do for work? Because it sounds really interesting.
Oh, it's not. I'm just like every other teacher, underpaid and underprivileged. I teach gymnastics to kids. I teach baby classes to Ninja Warrior classes. I am super lucky because I'm super loved.
So, all right. So I'm curious as to what led you down the path of opening an Etsy store and selling merchandise. My other question is, are you ordering these items yourself and then mailing them out?
No. So which question first? Do you want me to answer?
Let's go with number one. How'd you get to this?
There's only so many hours in a day I could work. I figured if I have any fun creating stuff and I can paint, I could put these paintings on things. And as opposed to selling one painting, I can open up an Etsy store and maybe the painting will sell multiple times through the night while I'm sleeping or while I'm on vacation. That was really it. It's like anybody else. You do your work and you can't work 24 hours a day. And even if you physically could work 24 hours a day and stay awake, there's only those 24 hours of the day to get paid for. Like anybody else, I moved on to the internet, I guess, basically. That's really it.
So now on to question two. No. Are you ordering these items and then shipping them out yourself?
No. Because we have a one-bedroom apartment and I have a full-time job. That just wouldn't make sense. It would make more money on the shirt, per shirt, and I'm just picking a shirt because shirts, we all know what a shirt is. So no, I'm not. I am just designing it, you could say, like on my computer, and then I am using Printful, which is the print on demand, which you told me about. I did not know existed until you told me about it. They do all the work for me. So I make the design, the t-shirt, I upload it to Printful. I then connect the Printful to Etsy. You go to Etsy. You like the shirt. You buy it. Etsy tells Printful to make it and ship it to you. They do all that. The money comes in and I get a small portion of it. But I've done no work besides making it. And then after I make it, I don't do anything else besides that. And it's been a fun learning process too.
Now, I heard you say something about taking a small profit. Anyone wondering about whether going Printful is the way to go, and this is not an ad for Printful. I like the Printful model because while per item, you're not making anywhere near as much money as you would if you were to just order the stuff and then ship it out yourself. There are so many things that you're not dealing with. Number one, if you order a ton of shirts, and this comes from my experience handling band merch for a few bands globally, I might add. I made no money doing that. Ordering a ton of these shirts, dropping a ton of money up front, you are still not guaranteed to sell that merchandise. That in itself, you are eliminating that risk by going through a company like Printful or Printify or all these other ones that exist out there. You don't have to do anything other than be creative yourself and handle the marketing. Those are the things that really matter with something like that. Have I done that aspect of it? No, I haven't. Thank God. I'm out of the merchandise game for now. Dude, when I was handling all these band shirts, I had most of my bedroom loaded with band tees and CDs and hoodies and shit. It was so miserable to just wake up every morning to see that pile of retail.
I mean, that's awful. That sounds, and that That's not me going, I know a better way. That's stupid. It's just me going like, outside looking in, that sucks. What's cool is I always include the, there's an option for every time you list something with Printful. It's like, do you want to include the benefits of print on demand and why it's like beneficial to the environment and it doesn't waste? I include it in everything because like it's not Amazon. They're not going to get in 2 days. But at the same time, not everybody understands that if you order a shirt like this and it doesn't exist yet until you order it and then it gets printed, it does save the time and effort and money and materials.
Now, what's your marketing experience been like with doing all this? Because this is something I know you're actually really new to is the marketing.
Now, when I'm doing something, I go, well, how do I market this? I'm making the shirt, but in my head, I'm like, this is how I'm going to market the shirt. This is who I should get this in front of. This will be the season. I'll run this ad. I'll have my wife wear this when she goes to the gym. It's a lot because it gets my gears going. And it makes me think about a little more than one or two things at a time, but it's fun. We went to the arcade yesterday. It just happened because I wore my Pokemon shoes. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to bring my business cards with me. Someone will ask about them. No one asked me physically for a card, but like when we went to go play pool, I put my card down by a table. That's just how I operate now. I'm like that douchey. I feel like a slimy salesman guy. Like,
nobody wants to come off as that douchey guy, right? So how do you find the balance between that, where it's like, here's my information, but or here's where you can buy my stuff, but also like, I'm not trying to scam you. I'm not trying to just take your money. I want to bring something to you that you'll really appreciate.
Unfortunately for me, the job I have is kind of like, I can do that. I can be over the top and talk about myself because I work with kids and because I can be funny. It's kind of the good example I give is if you've ever went to like one of those like, we're a diner and it's the 60s and we make fun of you and we're sarcastic and we're mean. And that place is funny and you go there for that experience because you know what's going to happen and you expect it and it's cool. That's kind of like what I've cultivated at my job. So it's very easy to carry it over to being a slimy salesman and talking about stuff. Like I wore pants the other day and some lady was like, I like your pants. I was like, yeah, you do because I designed them. And she was like, what are you talking about?
Well, that's not a slimy salesman. That's confidence. That's different. There's a huge difference.
Well, okay, so that's every cheesy movie and TV show and commercial that we grow up watching where like the car salesman's like comes out and he's like, it's crazy, Eddie's salesman. And then you get there and he's like, car. And you're like, you know, I don't really want that car, Eddie. And he's like, yeah, you do. And like, he does everything in his power. That's what it feels like. I'm going, hi, give me your money. I'm just saying it in different words over a course of sentences in a relationship, but I'm going, I want your money.
You're not trying to scam people out of money, right? You're not trying to like, I got one over on this guy. No, you're confident that the stuff that you're making is going to benefit them. You're confident that they're going to like what they're getting. So that's kind of like what I'm getting at, right? The difference between selling something you really care about, you're passionate about, that you're confident is worthwhile in getting, versus I'm just going to take this person's money. I don't give a fuck what they get.
It's cool to make stuff that people like. I guess that's why art can be cool. I have a new thing now. Like when I watch a YouTube video of somebody walking around Disney, like I'm waiting to see one of my piece of clothing. Like I get messages on Etsy all the time. Oh, I can't wait to wear this in Disney when I go next week. I can't wait to see somebody wearing my stuff or in the parks. It's going to be so cool. I can't wait to see somebody wearing my stuff. Button downs. People love button downs. That's been my best seller.
Button downs have been your best seller, really?
Yeah. Remember when I thought it would be simple stuff like mugs, puzzles. I thought the simplest things that would go first are things that would sell to kids really easily. Puzzles, like I can talk about puzzles at work.
Yeah.
That's simple. Stickers, I give out stickers all the time at work. You know what I mean? Like kids give me mugs as presents at Christmas time, you know, so I was like, oh, little tchotchkes, those will go. Also, you think naturally, and you were telling me to change my mind on this a long time ago. I go, well, I can't set my things too high because I wouldn't spend that much money on stuff. That was a whole other, we could probably do a whole segment about that, of like how we value our own things, how much money I would spend on a thing versus how much a total stranger would spend on a thing. And my stuff is cool. It's just that I can't buy one of my things every day. I would be broke.
You have actually branched out onto something last week?
Oh, dude.
You started doing something last week. What is that?
I was watching TV the other day. I made a video to send to you, which also totally ties into when I make stuff, because I make stuff all the time and go, that's cool. And then I make stuff all the time and go, that's awesome. And I make stuff and go, nah, whatever. And it seems that all three of those feelings I have, not only do people not think that, their perception of it is the same. You know what I'm saying? It seems like if I make a shirt and or if I make 3 shirts, I feel this way. It seems like even if 1,000 people look at them, all 1,000 people are going, oh, those are pretty cool. You know what I mean? There's no one going, that sucks. It's just like all being received the same way. So that's cool. But what I sent to you, you guys just thought was funny. I put on TikTok, and like it's almost like 500,000 views right now, and like more.
What did you do?
I was watching NXT wrestling because it seems like once or twice a year, my brain goes, check in with wrestling. What's going on? You know, like I heard The Rock came back last week. I was like, put some shit on. So I just put on whoever on. It was like 8:30. Booker T, who I watched growing up, and he just looked funny. And I just pulled out my phone and just recorded it, and I just laughed at how high I thought he was. I sent to you guys, and you're like, that's funny. And I put it on TikTok, and then like that night before I went to sleep, it had like 50,000 views.
So it was basically a reaction video.
Yes, literally was just reacting like this. The time I was like, ha, 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 ha. I was like, this is hilarious. I got out of my seat. I just captured the moment. It was kind of like when your dog does something funny, and you kind of like want to catch it really quick. And the first time you see it, you can't always. I just happened to catch that moment.
Yeah. Oh, man. That was all genuinely funny. I love that video. I thought that was so great.
And also was by myself. So like I was doing something naturally on here, and I look up and I kind of like double take, and like I go, whoa, hold on a second. I stop it because like I had a feeling what was going to come next was going to be hilarious. So I just got out of my seat. I back up just a few seconds. I hit play. I start talking, and that got so much more. I don't even know how to feel about it. So much more of a response than me putting up videos of like me doing a before and after of a painting or like a shoe that I worked on for like 30 hours. Nothing. And maybe on all those videos got less than 1,000 views. Nobody liked them. Nobody reshared them, and nobody added them to their favorites on TikTok or Instagram. You know, so it's just like, oh shit. And my phone still goes off. Is this what it's like to be famous on social media? My phone is still going off.
This video has 364,000 plays.
Plays. Was it? Okay.
364,000 plays.
For me, that's astronomical.
50,000 likes, 669 comments, 5,424 saves. So people thought it was funny enough to say, I'm going to save this for later. 12,000 shares. So 12,000 people said, I'm going to send this to a friend because this was funny. That's why reaction videos are such a big thing, right? All right, so Charles, where can we find you?
Me.
Whether it be, well, you can tell us all. Instagram, TikTok, and your store.
The Etsy store, heroic props. Like heroic proportions, like stuff of heroic proportions. HEROICPROPS, heroic props. One word, bunch of Disney stuff, bunch of Star Wars stuff. I just made a Gaston button down, the gold buttons down the center. Oh, I can't wait.
Where else can we find you?
Oh, I am Charles Art Collective on Instagram and TikTok. My reaction videos are WTF Reaction.
Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, John. You're the man.
Peace.